should prevail. Let's reset that, go back and turn the upgrade off. And let's do this again. So there's no upgrades now. It looks like at one point I've got a really good result, on another point I just got kind of the same 3 roaches surviving versus the first attempt 6 survived. So as if the +1 attack wasn't even the thing. Oh, look at that. Here 5 survived. So it looks like the whole mechanics of how everything plays out is very important. These battle mechanics is still something I don't understand. So as you can see, the way kind of units kind of move, you have to kind of anticipate where your next unit is going to die and enter the fight, and probably just kind of have somebody stacked up behind him. In any case, I tried something like that, but it didn't work. So it looks like there's always a sort of a randomness into this. However, this randomness is being eliminated with an upgrade. So let's put it like that. With 0-0 upgrades, due to randomness of kind of attack orders in the unit mechanics themselves, each of these groups can win under these circumstances. 3 roaches would survive either on this side or on that side. However, with +1 upgrade, the randomness is eliminated, and the unit composition that holds +1 will undoubtedly win. And that's the whole thing to this +1 upgrade, is that you kind of eliminate the factor of randomness in battle, and you know that you're just going to win if this similar amount of your army units are attacking. The enemy. Okay, it looks like even then it didn't work out. So as you can see here, my whole theory has been absolutely destroyed, because even this force right here with +1 attack upgrades didn't manage to beat this force right here with without upgrades. So why did that happen? It's probably due to the way units were spread out. So what I have to do here is most likely just make sure my forces are consistently spread out, and then they are able to inflict the damage. So it looks like the battle mechanics, such as unit attack mechanics, I would say, unit versus unit mechanics, are playing a very important role, and a very decisive role. So even when it comes to roaches, +1 most likely would be a thing. It, however, may not be a decisive factor as I thought. So obviously that's certainly a thing to kind of consider. Oh, look at that. Here they won. They won very decisively. I'm very surprised that happened at all. It seems that they have exactly the same number, and this force has won with 5 roaches versus this force that even has upgrades. And it's just phenomenon that this happened. I've kind of even spread everybody out, and I think I did this kind of perfectly, but it seems it was far from perfect. Let's see if I get this guy out first. Would that change anything? He would draw the fire of all the forward roaches, and this may affect the battle. And it looks like it affected the battle very favorably for these +1. So it looks like there's a lot of kind of randomness here in these battle mechanics, because even a +1 roach force positioned in a straight line may not win against 0/0 upgrade roach force positioned in a line. So basically, from what I realized is that too many units with upgrades wasted their damage on kind of a bad shot. So what could have happened is that 4 roaches were shooting at a enemy roach that had only a couple of life points instead of spreading the damage around. So what can I do to kind of get rid of this? Probably not much, I guess. In any case, in this time, in this kind of scenario, I'm kind of focus firing, and it looks like by focus firing I just barely gain an advantage. So that's probably exactly what happened. The roaches, just too many roaches attacked enemy roaches that didn't need that much damage to die, and eventually the damage just simply kind of evaporated here. Now what I'm gonna do next, I'm going to go for a ground upgrade rather than attack upgrade. I mean ground carapace upgrade, so that's pretty much also known as an armor upgrade, which would add me +1 armor. And let's see how that would affect the battle if more armor is in place. It seems to me that just barely the army with armor would prevail. So what can I say? The +1 ground, +1 armor or +1 attack isn't really that big of a difference maker in roach versus roach, and obviously that's kind of interesting. Very interesting. So basically, if I go for really quick upgrades, that may not be a deciding factor, and maybe just kind of spending the money on an extra roach would have been the more sensible approach. So let's see, here I have an extra roach added to kind of compensate for that +1 overall upgrade. and this means that this force will win, and I think that's exactly what makes this kind of a lot more competitive now. That one roach advantage is most likely all that I needed to eliminate the randomness. However, let's keep watching this and see if that's truly the case. If one roach is far more than +1 or +1 attack upgrades. Yeah, so look at that. 2 times out of 2, the army with additional roach would win. So there were 10 roaches here, 11 roaches there. So 10 on the left, 11 on the right. And it looks like that extra DPS was everything that was needed. So the number count, the unit number count, is certainly a truly big deal. So right here, 11 units, 10 units. Now what I'm going to do here, I'm going to increase 2 upgrades. So +1 ground, +1 attack, and let's see if that is more than an additional let's say 2 roaches. It looks like the upgrades are not playing part in the resources spent tab right here. Okay, let's fight. Let's see how this is gonna go. It looks like an extra roach will in fact extra 2 roaches will in fact be a much more favorable answer, and that's only +2 roaches, right? That's just +2 roaches. It looks like +2 roaches will be the winner. So what I'm gonna do next, I'm going to add +2 attack, +1 armor for the 10 roaches and leave 12 roaches the way they are. Let's see if this makes the roaches more competitive. So now the damage output on the left with those upgrades should in fact add up to make up an add-on unit, so to speak. So basically their damage increases so much that it in theory has more units than it truly does, and this means that they will prevail. As you can see, it does in fact prevail. Now the question is to what extent it does in fact prevail. So it goes from 16 damage to 20 damage here, and the more units that I have, the more this damage output is playing a role. Okay, so this is where it would outclass +2 roaches. Obviously the percentages are reasonably high. considering the low number of roaches. Here I'm going to add an additional roach. So now they're gonna have 13 roaches on one side. Let's see if that plays a significant part. And that would be a reasonable early game battle. A lot of money spent on the upgrades. And as you can see, +2 attack would in fact be a truly kind of a significant factor. Now what if I would have 2 attack and no armor? Well, the difference would be 3 roaches. Would that make a difference? It could be that armor isn't really playing a big role. However, it seems that it is playing a big role. Alright, so basically that one extra armor upgrade was all it took to beat them. Without that extra ground armor upgrade, the enemy would overrun. Now what can I say? It's all about getting as much damage output into the battle as possible. As you can see, they won truly decisively, and just one armor upgrade could change things around. Okay, it looks like that was a mistake. I'm not sure why, but I kind of made a mistake here of not putting +2 there. So my whole process of kind of going through this has been completely false. So basically, previously when I said that with +2 0 armor, these roaches would prevail over these, was false. Let's take a look if that still remains the case. Okay, in the first battle, it looks like that's the case. So it looks like I wasn't making that big of a mistake. So here we're seeing a quick battle where one player focuses on upgrades and roaches, another player focuses slowly on roaches, and we're seeing if the player that wasn't upgrading, wasn't spending money on kind of evolution chambers and upgrades, is winning, and it looks like he is. So basically the player on this side had to spend 300 minerals for 2 evolution chambers to get upgrades quickly. He had to spend an additional 100 for missile attack level 1, 150 for attack level 2, and additional carapace 150 to kind of beat an army that has only 3 roaches more, and 3 roaches more wouldn't even cost more than 300 minerals or 100 gas, because one roach is something like 75 minerals, 25 gas. And even then, as you can see, the roaches with the upgrades, with +1 upgrades, couldn't prevail. So they basically do need +2 to actually kind of they have enough damage output. and even then it's not enough. So I think in the previous engagements the left side won, but not in this engagement. Okay, and that's kind of probably the limit. You know, I'm going to spread these guys out a little bit and see if makes any difference. All the little things mostly kind of matter at this point. Another thing to watch in battles is numerical superiority. My forces are not numerically stronger. They shouldn't be engaging, I guess. So basically knowing if your army can win is a really big deal. And here 3 roaches, so 30% more roaches in this case would be far more than 2 attack and 1 defense. But here we're seeing a very low numbers, obviously, and only 1 unit composition. But it just shows that unit count is far more important than the upgrade. So basically, if you forgot those upgrades, it's not a complete disaster. Here with +2/+2, things are looking far more different. So when it comes to +2/+2, it seems then the player is truly gaining an advantage and can without a doubt beat an opponent that has a lot more units. So here this side has 4 more roaches than the left side. The left side has +2/+2, and it looks like both are fighting very equal at this point. And that armor is making a difference without a doubt. Okay. So basically, without that additional roach there, things would be very different. Let's see how this would play out again. So there's only difference is that 1 single roach wasn't here. And obviously the battle mechanics are playing in, and all in all, this side has 1. Now, what I'm gonna do, I'm going to add even more upgrades. So +3/+3 here. Let's see if that is making the roaches far more powerful. So in total that added +6 on offensive. And even then, it looks like the roaches on the right are still reasonably powerful. So the upgrades are there, without a doubt, they are. But they may not be the deciding factor. Here everybody's got spread out. That's probably the most common position. And these have +3/+3 versus 0/0. And they will win. Forest unit underground. Burrowed units are unable to move or attack, but they cannot be seen without detection. That's the burrow ability. Okay, let's change the terrain. The corridor is just a little bit too thin, so I would go on a pass. Now let's take a look at a bunch of different. It looks like the game's lagging out. I'll just have to GG out of this then.